Learn Crypto. My name is Desiree and I'm in the virtual studio with the crypto curious. His name is Craig Chitima, an exciting guest for us this morning. Craig Chitima is based in Cape Town and he's a graphic designer who also does 3D art. He has 6 years of experience in the creative field with a background in photography, graphic design, stage management, and working in live broadcast. Craig is also an entrepreneur and owns a startup called the Creativ. This is a young generation remote agency that uses AI and tech to improve design workflows. His first interaction with anything blockchain related was in 2017, and he was introduced to a decentralized app called Steemit. In 2020, he was exposed to non-fungible tokens, NFTs, during the pandemic. And in 2021, he started making art for other people's collections. He's currently working on 3 of his own NFT projects, which are called Rhodium Keepers, Afro, and Driva NFT. We're excited to host this gentleman this morning. Craig, please welcome to Learn Crypto's virtual studio. And please, man, just tell us, why did you think NFTs are the way to the future back then?
Thank you very much, Desiree. Really appreciate the time. And going to the first question, I think what made me think NFTs are the future was the main fact that they lived on blockchain, and blockchain is decentralized one, which I think a lot of people are interested in. People are tired of centralized ways of doing things, and we love to have control. And I think we see a digital future like that gives the power to the people. Hence, me being attracted to blockchain technology.
Right. When you say decentralized, what does this mean for a young designer? What does decentralized mean?
Okay, well, the meaning of decentralized means, it doesn't have a centered point of control. But as a designer, what it means for me is that I'm able to sell my work to people without having a middleman, in a nutshell. And I think that's very important because living on a decentralized system enables us to somewhat broaden our horizons without having to go through a specific middleman, as I said earlier on, and really get to my customer directly.
Yes.
And I think that's the most important thing. Working on decentralized platforms and deploying projects on decentralized platforms. The main fact is that you don't have to go speak to a third party anymore. You can just do it yourself.
Absolutely.
And market your product yourself.
Lovely.
And the beautiful thing is that blockchain, the technology that these things are built on, has actually always been known as just Bitcoin related. But very little do people know that this technology has very many layers to it, where, for example, you can start creating digital art. And it's exciting that gaming as well can be built on this blockchain technology. So tell us about your Web3 technology use cases that you have found interesting. Which are these 3 technologies that you have found quite interesting for yourself?
Okay, I think the first model I found very interesting was the play to earn model with non-fungible tokens.
Play to earn.
Yeah, so people
So
basically.
I'll be playing a game and I can potentially earn while playing a game?
Yeah, precisely that.
Tell us more.
So they're games that give users, NFT holders. Okay, first let's start with the non-fungible token. You find play-to-earn games that would first initially sell a non-fungible token at launch. One of the examples of those games is Solchicks, SOLCHICKS. And basically what happens is part of the funds that would have been acquired from the first initial NFT sale would then be, put towards, um, you know, things in game that people could earn from. And as you play the game, you can earn digital collectibles like wearables in game and, extra perks in game. But basically, play to earn games are games that enable you to earn digital collectibles as non fungible tokens. Non fungible tokens being digital assets that are minted and registered up on the blockchain through a smart contract. And yeah, the games, there's quite a number of games that you can play um, that would enable you to, for instance, win a specific item in game. And game economies are quite a big thing these days as well. So as
So
opposed to having a game like, I beg your pardon?
do you have some games as well that are ready for us to play?
Yeah, so there's a couple of games to check out. One of them is Illuvium. So they're building the world's first person shooter. That's a play to earn. But I think an entry point for a lot of people that would be very interesting would be games like Sandbox. Snoop Dogg owns a property on Sandbox, so that should be an interesting one to check out.
Right.
There's Decentraland, there's Crypto Voxels, and these are metaverse games which basically allow you to buy land in the metaverse and build in the metaverse to your
Right.
liking.
Do you have any
So
links that you can share with us on these games, or do we just simply find the apps? So how do we link to them? Do we go into applications or a link of sorts?
so I'm gonna send the links down. This is the first link to Decentraland. Just drop that in the chats. But there's quite a number of games. Maybe there's some that I might not even be naming right now, but metaverse games I think are the first starting point because that allows people to buy land and build their own games
Yes.
inside the metaverse game itself. But I can attach some links over here to Sandbox.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
And tell us about, where do you see Africans positioned in the future, in the digital future, where cryptocurrency is concerned?
I feel very positive about Africa and Africans when it comes to the cryptocurrency Web3 space. Reason being, when Africans are united and they all do one thing, we tend to get things done. And I think with the cryptocurrency space, we've been given the opportunity to now invest where we could not invest, and even when it comes to NFTs, I'm seeing a lot of good African one-of-one artists selling their digital art on the blockchain, and they're just blowing the world away. And I think I see Africans in an empowered position. Speaking 5 years from now, I see a lot of Africans being able to make a living off blockchain. I see a lot of Africans with their own startups in their blockchain space because I've been seeing that happening now, and there's a lot of bright Africans that really understand and know what's happening in the space, specifically Web3 and blockchain.
Right. Tell me something. I went into your app, the Rhodium Keepers, and I was fascinated by that NFT. Could you just share with us more detail about that NFT? I see that you also auctioned one of them. Please just give us just a bit more insight about your Rhodium Keepers NFT. For me, it looked very Wakanda-ish. I was very excited. I just see a big future in that type of art. Tell us more about that.
Right, thank you. So Rhodium Keepers NFT was an NFT that was inspired by past events that I'd encountered, and basically lack of representation as an African. I don't know if that makes any sense. So I'm not too sure if you like familiar with when you're buying NFTs or if you've invested that side. But when you get to a marketplace, what you see the most is you're looking at apes, you're looking at um all these weird artworks. Really, some are good, but
Why apes?
um
Why do a lot of people go to apes? What is it? Is it related to Africa? Why apes?
uh yeah, no, I'm not too sure why the hype was there with the apes. All I do know is that what attracts people to NFT projects the most is the utility, meaning what it's backed by and what they get out of owning that specific token. So usually these projects come with good utility, and it's like, I guess people see beyond the apes. They see beyond, um, the the pixels. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and what inspired me the most was the fact that we lacked this representation, and I was also inspired by African martial arts, which put me to a point where I believed I should explore building an African martial arts play to earn
Wait,
video game.
wait. We have African martial arts.
Yeah, so the Rhodium Keepers project is, um, the intention is to build a game, and the project has been, character drops of the characters that would be in game. And what inspired this was, the lack of representation of African culture in a digital format.
Mm-hmm.
I would see, so when you think Africa, if we want any point of contact with Africa, we see movies, we read books, we have artwork, we have music. But I'd
Mm-hmm.
never really seen a use case that involves a game that represents who we are, as an
Right.
African people.
Yeah.
And looking into the game economy as well, it just made sense. I mean, you can create an economy within a game, that is autonomous. So
Mm.
it's like, well, let's go on and create a play to earn game. And um, I'm currently in the process of doing that. So what I've been doing is dropping the characters that
Mm-hmm.
that'll be in game, at a or local NFT marketplace as well. And the only
Wow.
local NFT marketplace I could find in South Africa was Moment. So I went with that, and I do regular drops. We started dropping in around about Feb, March. Yeah, Feb, March. I got verified on Moment,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been, just regular NFT drops, where people can now buy, the characters to then support me in terms of creating the game. Yeah, the Rhodium Keepers is just a way to explore an African culture using, digital means, using gaming,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to just music, fashion. But yeah, gaming is a way. It's an interactive way to get someone to engage and to, um, kind of like experience the story or learn, I guess. And we around late March, we had an opportunity to auction at Proof.
Mm-hmm.
Proof was one of South Africa's, I mean, one of Africa's largest NFT auctions. At Proof, a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT was sold.
Mm-hmm.
Nelson Mandela's Warrant of Arrest was sold. A couple of other artists also, one of ones was sold over there. But 8.1 million rand was spent within the space of 4 hours in one place at Proof.
Wow. Wow.
And I happened to auction at the Blitz, which is like a Blitz auction, quick auction. There were also quite some other artists that had some quite good utility there, I guess. But yeah, late August we went to Proof and we auctioned out one of the Rhodium Keepers NFTs. It was the 11th one. We auctioned out the 11th one out of 100.
Amazing. So tell
Yeah.
me, Craig, so for many youngsters who are hearing all of this and everything sounds very cryptic, where's a basic step to start for a youngster who's trying to zone into this new phenomenon, which is cryptocurrency in, say, 2022? Where do they start?
Basic step to start. use Google, get good at it. That's I think that's the best advice I could give with in terms of starting. But of course, it's do your research. So the basics first. What is blockchain?
Yeah,
What is a blockchain? What is blockchain technology? What is a
yeah,
cryptocurrency? um, Small things, and I know it sounds and someone would be listening or maybe just watching this and thinking, well, it sounds like it's a waste of time, but it's not. It's if you go back to the basics, then I guess you understand what you can do with the technology, because that's how I approach using Web3
yeah.
technology
And
is.
I understand, sorry, I understand that you moved to Cape Town to study, and you dropped out because you were just finding what you were studying, or the medium that you were studying through, quite antiquated in terms of teaching you this digital art form that was not in line with the current times. And we spoke about this before, because many times you go to the formal institutions, but they're a bit antiquated in their methods and adoption of new technology. And I'm just so intrigued by how you then derailed that studying and went into the innovative uh, blockchain technology, the new world, the new age means of actually doing graphic designing and so forth. Tell us a little about that.
It was a risk. I think I had to start there. But yeah, I'd been studying graphic design for 2 years at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology. Um, and from a basic level was good. I got the principles I needed, but we basically didn't touch a computer for about a year and a half, and we're just doing drawing and cutting up stuff and doing like layout, getting the design principles in. And I was supposed to do digital training the following year.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, there's so much happening. So around about that time, I was already like checking out YouTube tutorials on 3D art while I was studying. And it's like I got exposed to this whole digital realm of creating art that was the complete opposite of what I was learning in varsity. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and at that point in time, I just found what I was seeing online a lot more fascinating. So I started practicing and doing YouTube tutorials myself and learning other skills that I wasn't being taught at varsity. And then I put my work out there. And about 6 months in, I got a call from a very reputable production company, and they're like, hey, we like your work, would you please come work for us? So at that point I was contemplating, do I stay in varsity and go for another 2 years, whereas there's an opportunity from a production company that's needing those digital skills that I learned myself. you know and I obviously took the latter. Decided, well, it's another opportunity, let's run with it. But that was the blessing, see, because at that point, that's when I started learning a lot about NFTs, Web3, because being in that space, I learned a lot about Web3. I had to learn about Web3 because we were making NFT collections for
Brilliant.
3D. Yeah.
And in my journey with cryptocurrency as well, it started back in 2011, but it was not until about 2014 when I started investing in specifically Bitcoin. But many people understand Bitcoin or cryptocurrency to be just Bitcoin. And it's so beautiful to learn that there are so many layers, and that the blockchain technology presents a myriad of opportunities for various people where they can build upon. I mean, there's NFTs, there's all sorts of currencies that have been built in. There's all sorts of gaming. Even a lot of systems, government systems, will ultimately be running off of blockchain, the technology that is. We also have mining. So later on, we're going to have Trevor. And Craig, I hope you will stay with us. But Trevor is a miner in the blockchain technology. And in my journey, even though he was one of my members in the mining group, He then got me really into mining, where I was just hosting a group. He then built up my computer. And speaking with you the other day, you spoke about the various other methods of mining that that actually reduce the energy consumption footprint. And I'm excited for us to actually speak to our audiences more about that. How can we also go into mining and yet not tap too much into the energy consumption, knowing that, for example, the load shedding and the shortage of energy is a huge white elephant in all of our lives at the moment. So I'd love for you to still stick around. There's a lot of topics to discuss around this, and that's why I've invited you, Trevor, as well as Craig, to be part of this series. It is cryptic, and when I first went into cryptocurrencies and just learning anything blockchain, there was so much information. I really did not know where to start. And if you look between 2011 and 2014, that's a very long time to be sitting in that information seeking era, because you're still skeptical, you're trying to figure out where to go, who to trust, and which platforms to use. So we want to lessen that gap of search finding by actually being custodians of information, learning experiences, and sort of what you would call shortcuts, Craig, into this movement, into people going into cryptocurrency, especially our continent. We do not want our continent to be the last adopters of this beautiful technology called blockchain. So I want to talk more about your Rhodium project, for example. I know that you're not doing a lot of justice to it, but I want you to just share with us, and also just input into Trevor Swart's session when he speaks Bitcoin mining or crypto mining very shortly.
All right. With regards to that, I think it's very important, Desiree, to kind of share that information when it comes to the blockchain Web3 space, so that people don't make the mistakes they're not supposed to. I've made some mistakes. I've invested in the wrong NFT projects, but yeah, it's a very interesting space. I would say a couple of things for people that are interested in NFTs. One thing you must do is read the documentation of the blockchain that you intend on investing in. So if you want to get a NFT project that is on Solana, go to Solana, search up Solana, read the documentation of the blockchain technology so you understand how it works. And then also check out the team that is making the project and see who they are, check out their utility, what they're promising. If it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Good to be
So
true.
that's one thing I've learned with a lot of NFT projects is the guys that usually don't promise much are the ones that end up delivering more. And you're buying into, people. But as for mine, my NFT project that I'm working on with also my awesome community that's behind me and supporting, Rhodium Keepers. We intend on creating drops. I mean, that project is still up and coming and going, and we'll be doing a collaboration with Afro, and the people who are going to do music in the Afro project. So just a backstory, Afro was an NFT project that I created in order to hold Rhodium Keepers, because I saw an interest in creating music NFTs for other people that wouldn't really have access to, knowing how to make music NFTs. So right now we're going to be collaborating with a lot of musicians, and we're doing a collection of different African tribes, 100 pieces that will be dropping on the 24th of September. So the Rhodium Keepers NFT and the Afro NFT all speak to one cause, and it just made sense to have a collection that is in sync. So I'll be starting with 100 NFTs, which is basically a call out to the Web3 community to say, hey, we're African creatives and we want to share what it means to be African in a digital future in a way that is relevant, that is not
Beautiful.
boring, you know. And it's a call out to say, if you're a musician, come. If you're creative, come. And you know, buy this NFT. And what we'd be able to do is create an economy amongst ourselves, so that we cut out a lot of middlemen when we want to create our own creative projects that speak to our own people. So
The beauty of that, Craig, is that if you do that, you're not going to have outsiders creating their perception of NFTs and what African culture is from the outside in. Because often, if you don't adopt these things fast enough, especially where culture is related, you have some other person writing your story or designing your story. So when I went to Rhodium Keepers, I saw the beauty of merging all the African cultures, the tribes, the resources, the way of being of various natives around the continent. And I thought, wow, this is a beautiful thing. And if I was an investor, I would definitely invest in this. So I'm excited that youngsters are looking to write their story through their perception, from the African perception. If you look now in the US, the Black American actually are the biggest adopters on NFTs. That was actually 3 months ago, the last time I checked, and that's a good thing. But we don't want our story to be written through the eyes of Jay-Z, for example. If you look at hip hop is something that was born out of Africa, but it was popularized by the Americans. You want to change that. You want to write your own stories, and I think that's through digital art is one way that we can entice young people to write their stories in a fun manner, because everybody wants to be in their gadgets. It's just how they're spending the time in their gadgets. I think that's a beautiful thing. And Craig, this is an evolving story. We can't tell it at one go. Crypto talk is so cryptic that if you mention one thing that people don't recognize and you lose them. So we got to present it in biteable sizes so that people can chew it slowly and embrace it in the way that we would want them to, which is in a fast manner, an efficient manner, and one that they can quickly release out there into cyberspace.